All right, guys, welcome. Obviously, preseason's over. You know, in our mind, in our approach, you know, we're in one-game seasons now that are all very impactful. But we'll only be moving forward with the 1-0 mentality. You know, we've got to have a bunch of guys that embrace that. I just think right now with the state of our football team, we're best when we're operating with a chip on our shoulder, and it's a one-game mentality. Nothing in the past matters to this program right now, nothing in the future or where we could and possibly can go. You know, maintaining humility will be critical as, you know, we move forward into Illinois State, and quite frankly, only Illinois State. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about last week, so, you know, just wrapping that up, I thought offensively, you know, first and second down, just production was outstanding, 61% win rate. We scored in the gold zone, but a little bit disappointed in our overall, you know, I'll put some fault on us as coaches and myself included. You know, the gold zone plan to get touchdowns just needs to be a little bit better. I think as we continue to look at where we're at offensively, I think our ability to be balanced is only improving and getting better, you know, with the running backs playing the way they are, the offensive line coming together. But Cam continues to play at a very high rate, and I do think that's you know, something that's credited to him and his preparation. But, man, the guys around him are really playing well. Joe Stoffel, the receivers, the protection. For the most part, you know, our sack numbers might be just a little bit high on paper, but some of those are controllable too by some decisions we're making. I really like the way the receivers are attacking the next man up mentality. And then it was just really good to get, you know, Marty that spark that I've kind of been anticipating for a while. You know, defensively, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that all this improvement's overshadowed by a second half that's just not up to standard. But when I talk about the specific parts of improvement, you know, our ball out breaks, when receivers were catching it, they were getting punished. It was with physicality. We had a presence within keeping the cup. Sam Young makes us a little bit better defense when he's playing strong safety. And so I think that package, you know, has to be strongly considered. We were 58% win rate on first and second down, which gave us an opportunity to get some sacks. We failed to finish some of those opportunities, but we did affect the quarterback 60% of the time. It's just way too often on the play-by-play, you know, hurried by, you know, pass rush by, hurried by, and we're just not finishing those opportunities to have the sack numbers where we all want them to be. We got 6. Okay, when we say, or moving forward, when I say we got 6, we're looking for 6 takeaways, 3 and outs, and or fourth down stops, and we hit that goal. That was outstanding. And I want to make sure, you know, as we dive into the questions, and I'm looking forward to it, let's go through the series. Okay, openers, field goal forced. 3 and out, their energy leads to a block punt, and that was a defensive kid. 3 and out, punt return. Okay, 4 plays, INT at the start of the second half. Okay, and then we give up a drive, but we hold them to a field goal. I'll call that a push. All right, then we go TD, which I had part of that because the penalty was on me. I guess you got to be, you know, back by the net somewhere to not get touched. And then we give up a 72-yard run that's unacceptable. And then we win in prevent defense, giving up a few yards there. And those are the facts. Okay, special teams, outstanding individual efforts, unit performances, they were the difference. The special teams, period, were the difference in that game because they created momentum and they capitalized on opportunities. You know, moving into Illinois State real quick, this is Brock Sprack, you know, led staff. Okay, I think they have 3 or 4 guys that have been together 5 years or more. They've got a couple that have been with them more than that. You know, one includes a former Bison and Sam O'Jury. They're built on execution, toughness, run it, stop the run philosophy. Okay, so right there, that tells me we got our hands full. Okay, it's going to kind of be one of those things. Can we stop the run, and then can we establish the run? They've got solid concepts, really good coaching, and concepts that complement each other. That's the one thing that I'm encouraged or impressed by is just there's some complementary things that are very smart by their offensive coordinator that I respect. I also respect that they know who they are and how they're willing to lose. I don't think they're going to give us a plug nickel. We'll have to earn everything that we get. Therefore, you know, it's going to be a heck of a week of preparation. And obviously we're opening up Missouri Valley play, and it's a 1-week season, and I'll answer questions now.
You mentioned Run game helping you guys become a little bit more balanced. Kind of what are some of the biggest improvements you've seen from the running back room in this first early part of the year here?
I'm probably more like you guys than you think. Like, it's one thing to drum up some scheme things for the quarterback, and it's one thing to create this or that and cultivate. Like, we earned every yard we got. There wasn't some fancy jet sweep late in the game that gets us to this number. Marty ran hard. I thought the O-line, we're starting to square some people up, and we're starting to finish some blocks too. Now a guy's running through an arm tackle instead of a shoulder pad. And so for me, a big part of my belief in this game is establishing tailback run game, dominance. And can you be physical within that? Because then when you do run the quarterback, that has a better chance to be an explosive and so forth and so on.
At least to my eye, some of your struggles in run defense have been when they go 10 and try to spread you out. Does Illinois State run the ball in a way that is easier for you to defend or makes more sense for what you're trying to do?
I think we're up there looking at it right now, third downs today and that kind of stuff. But I think that's a really, really intelligent point. A lot of pressure gets put on the safeties and the run fits when they spread you out. And that's something that we have to continue to look at. Illinois State, and I, it's one of those things they know. They put it on tape every year. They're an inside zone team, all right, that has very little other concepts. So it kind of is going to come down to gap control and then tackling this really, a bigger back that's kind of slashing. He kind of reminds me of his coach. It's been real productive. I mean, this guy, we've got to be tight and close space, and we got to be tight to these shelves. Otherwise, this 32 is going to get his shoulder square and be downhill on us. And we got to alleviate some of that pressure off the safeties and take care of it with the front. But so far this year, that would be a very good observation.
Coach, you guys are facing a quarterback that uses the play action pretty well, can hit it downfield. What are you seeing for your defense to make sure that they're not biting too hard on that run, run fake?
I think a lot of their stuff comes down to the corner matchups, right? And then at times they want to take advantage of some safety fits with more post cuts. But a lot of their vertical stuff has come more outside versus inside technique, so I think they're converting their post routes to go balls. I think it's real calculated shots. They want to establish the run. Some tempo plays will show up here and there. And then, they're pretty strategic in going after certain coverages with their concepts. They do a nice job attacking specific things.
Do Tyler, Braylon, or Raja have a chance this week?
Tyler will not. Tyler's going to be minimal, where we'll be considering it 4 weeks. Okay, now he's out of the sling already. I've asked him to stay positive and work at it. Braylon, honestly, if you guys could all text me, and I'll give you the honest answer. It's going to be Wednesday before we know, but he is stronger and stronger every day. And the GPS is nice, the catapult system, because we know exactly at what percentage he's running at of his maximum output. And so I think he's got a slight chance. Raja's a no.
You said you wanted to see more guys play defensively. Have you seen that the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, because we were on that track. And then they get into a 2-minute mode, okay? And then some of our older guys, with what my message was last week, some of the older guys are flat better at zone coverages and making checks and getting us lined up when it comes to prevent and 2-minute defense. But I thought, the combination of Gully and Enoch was out there, right? The combination of Sam Young playing strong safety and Darius, Givens at free. They're all tied together. Our Sam backer and our strong safety are very similar in how they fit and what they have to fit. And that's been that way. That's why Colton could go play nickel. Colton Hegel went from strong safety to nickel, and that was a fascinating package for us. But yes, I'm up there right now, doing everything I can outside of making the decisions to encourage playing guys and playing more people, whether it's up front or it's, at the linebacker position. I think, you get through the preseason, now you're in Missouri Valley. I don't want to say we are who we are, because I will make some decisions if needed. But it's going to be hard to get signal callers adjusted at times. But I really like the idea of Kubis being out there at Sam. That was another package. So, it's just some of the situational things that popped up limited those opportunities to see him.
Is your cornerback room still pretty much in flux? I mean, I thought Marcus was really good Saturday. And you got Jalen, you got Jaquise, and then Tony. I mean,
why would you use the word influx? Why not? There's been some nice depth. There's some guys that are playing now. No, it's not in flux at all. Okay, I like the 4 guys that have played for us. They've all went out there and played competitively. I still think we're going to get into a game where they get challenged a little bit more on a few more routes. But Sept had a pick last week. You know, they're all kind of battling a nagging thing right now. Sept didn't miss a practice. He was one of our Ironmen. We had 40 guys that were out there every second, every minute of fall camp, and we rewarded them. And Sept had a little bit of a, a stinger issue, and then he had a little bit of a growing. It is what it is. And we got to get Tony back, so then we feel really good about it, because I think Duff and Jaquise, Duff is really getting better. I mean, he was in good position on a perfectly thrown 9 ball. In this day and age, with the improvement of quarterbacks and receivers, all that, right? Like, he was in a good spot. I mean, I just don't think influx, I shouldn't have got upset. I just don't think influx is fair to that group. They're doing a hell of a job, and they're getting better. And we're capitalizing on the most healthy guys that we got each week.
So would you say, like, in November, then, would it be optimal to play all 4 of them, or do you want to find 2?
Oh, good. The more nickel that we're playing, there would be a higher chance of playing all 4. And I think if Will's, having to think about playing all 4, that means they're all playing pretty good. Depending on the tempo of the offense, the rate that they play at would all impact that.
Back at Illinois State, you mentioned their big back, 6'1", 205. It says 205. It might be a little bit bigger than that. What are kind of some of the challenges that presents, especially a team that likes to run inside zone as much as this group does?
This is kind of our first big back that we're seeing that's dedicated to the run. I mean, Colorado had some guys that were big, but they didn't want to throw it. I guess we're going to find out. He's a slashing guy that gets his shoulders square real quick. He kind of has this, Sam had that little awkwardness, but his knees were always coming with him. That's just what I think about. But I know this, 76 carries for 444 yards. I mean, 5.8 per carry, and he's been productive in his career, and they're playing without their other running back. And so hopefully we can get some knocks on this guy and make him think about carrying the ball in the 4th quarter.
Okay, Marshall, to kind of become the 3rd down back, really getting pass pro. Have you kind of seen him own that role?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of where we've been in the past, where it's like, okay, well, who's the guy? You know what I mean? So that we can't share the ball. Ideally, you have a guy that can carry it 18 to 20 times. Somebody else is contributing with another dozen or more. I liked our balance this week. It's just hard to get the ball to 3 guys, and I just can't tell you enough. I mean, TK just comes to work. He's embracing his role. We're expanding his role on special teams like it was in the past, and he's doing a good job. And he's a capable runner. We're gonna need him at some point, right? It's a long season.
Marty Brown earned his wings to go 20-plus carries a game.
Well, it's been trending that way. I don't like necessarily getting in front of people and always trying to predict the flow of a game, right? Like, for instance, let's just play Marty gets 2 and then Barika breaks off 2, and I kind of shout to Jake, holy cow, Barika's seeing it. Maybe he goes. But I think with the production this week and where Marty's been at breaking tackles, and we've all seen it, right? He's been close on several occasions, and it just came to fruition. Marty's really practiced hard and has earned the opportunity, and we'll continue to work that whole group. But he's got what it takes to be the bell cow.
These teams played, and you were calling plays in Frisco, Texas.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to that last drive?
It's the same defense. He'll still zero pressure you in a gotta-have-it situation. I respect him so much because he is who he is. And I kind of just think about my time a little bit at Iowa, like they just line up and play you. And Brock, I mean, I could pull my notes out, and I'm pretty convinced. In fact, I'm going to do that. I think the notes would be the same. I mean, it's the same stuff. They're still running the same defense. And to do that for 102 wins at a place for 16 years is really quite remarkable. But I made the guys make me a cut-up of scoring plays going all the way back to 14. I was just curious to see how that would unfold versus a very similar defense. Travis Nightcamp is a guy that I know from the road. Unbelievable person, good football guy, and just respectful of good football. They do it the right way, Jeff.
Take you back to that drive.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So Urzendowski was huge for 3 catches. And you're down at the 5-yard line when you call it timeout, and Carson's on the headset, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's common, but Do you remember what you guys were talking about? I know it's a long time ago.
No, I can remember it like it's yesterday. The first thing I remember is Coach Kleiman was mad that I wanted to take the timeout. So when we hit the big play, I actually told Coach Kleiman, I don't have one ready. I want a timeout. Okay, the reason for that is I wanted to get an elite quarterback with an elite mind that can control everything. I wanted to get a 2-play to a 3-play sequence set up for him, and I knew we still had one timeout and the ability to run it. And it wasn't uncommon at that time for me and Carson to get on the headset together. All right, he added something earlier in that game to a play, and in Jacksonville State, I said, hey, we're going to switch this call. You put whatever you want on it. Let's end in this. Carson had that ability. And when I got him on the headset, I actually recommended, okay, I want to throw it on first down. Okay, and then we want to come right back with a second down. If it's complete and inbounds, I don't want to waste the timeout. He said, Coach, put it in my hands. Okay, and then that's when we scored. But the pass play that we had up next, Carson was going to be able to operate that without getting into a timeout situation. And then it's kind of interesting, and I don't want to mess this story up, but I was at Iowa and they brought in the New York Jets clock management guy. And I'm sitting in the back, and the first drive that he was going to teach off was with Illinois State. And he starts off by saying this coordinator makes a huge mistake because he's going to leave time on the clock for the defense. And I'm sitting there hiding. But he goes, actually, this was really smart because he was able to talk to what they would consider a elite quarterback and get all the information he wanted to him to make sure that they scored the points. It's the defense job to keep the points off the board. And so that was a unique deal. I mean, it really was. And those 2 plays against zero pressure, the throw, the underthrow was huge. John Cockett picking up the blitz, just a fascinating drive Carson pulled off so often.
Touchdown, you guys had 6 guys lined up on the left side. They had 5.
Yeah.
Did you know right away?
Well, it was interesting. We used that formation a lot that year to do a couple different things, and that was our basics. Chase Morlock, as good a top 5 football player I've ever coached, inserts in the wrong gap, don't touch anybody, and Carson beats him. I mean, and I'm like, the one guy I would trust to execute absolutely perfectly, or the 2 guys, Carson and Chase, and Chase don't touch anybody, and the next thing you know, that great picture of the ball going up and being thrown. What a great moment in Bison history.
How exciting is it to start conference play for you and this team?
Yeah, I'm eager. We're eager, but again, I want to make sure, because I'm okay with getting boring, because when we're boring, then we're emphasizing the right things. It's a 1-game season now. The cost of poker goes up a little bit, and there's a lot of implications in all these games, but we are just have to maintain humility. We have to maintain a chip on our shoulder. 2024 Bison team hasn't done anything yet, okay, except for get through a preseason, improved in a lot of areas, and still a little bit of improvement to make in some others, and we got to go find a way to go 1-0 by 1 point or more.
I think you mentioned special teams in every either post-game press conference, every opening statement you've made. You coordinated the special teams here at one time. I think the people call it a third of the game. Most people don't actually treat it as a third of the game. Have you allocated more time to that than in the past? Obviously, there have been exceptional long field goals by Eli, long returns by Jackson. What has your kind of different approach been to special teams this year?
We met from somewhere for an hour to 2 hours more, periods, during fall camp than we ever had before. We drilled things. I think it was a total of 8 more periods than we have before. I think it can be an edge in college football now. It's just week to week, the kickers and kicking the touchbacks, have gotten so much better. The different punt formation, the exotic punt formation sometimes can eliminate some opportunity to go for blocks, but I most certainly want to look back on the film at the end of the year, and I want to see that we win after punts, that we're an aggressive return team because of some of the explosive athletes we have. We've dedicated a lot of time, and then I think, between Joe Brashaner leading it, Coach Gazer, LJ, Will Johnson and Devin Kleiman all having a part in coaching those things and had played them before, I think we've got a chance to be even better, but to be pretty good at the end of the year.
Gray being a pro, what have you seen from him at left tackle being Cam's blindside?
Have you noticed him in any games? He's been really good. And he's moving the point of attack. I'll say this, actually. The fact that our best football player, our best prospect, goes out there and tries to work on the details of fundamentals and technique. It's just an unbelievable example for our young kids, and I hope they're all listening to me. You know, I don't know if you guys have caught on, but when I do these things, right, I'm talking to a certain group of people. Okay, and that is what I appreciate most about Gray, and that's what certain people are starting to recognize. Don.
What did you see from Osterman over the last, even when he got here, to say he can help us right away?
He's strong. You know, he's a stronger kid. You know, it's right there at 6 feet. He's a great athlete. I recruited him. I mean, I looked at him hard. I wouldn't say I recruited him hard. I really did. Once or 2 or 3 times I took him to Coach Salville and like, can this guy be a safety for us? You know, do you want to coach him? Let me try to. So I've always felt really good about the report from the high school coach. I always felt really good about, you know, his demeanor and his approach, our communication going into this. He was just thinking right about the opportunity, and I was real clear, like, this might not, we're pretty deep, it might not happen. And he's a strong player that plays with pretty good pad level, and he can stop and he can go, you know, so that's encouraging, and I think he continues to become a better ball catcher. You know, he's had to work at the catching the ball.
You know, you had a lot of players that have stepped up, especially on offense with the receiver room. But what have you seen from the guys that are injured and teaching these younger guys? You know, what have you seen from them?
I mean, outstanding. Like I got to make a decision. Like, does Brosio travel or is it Raja? Right? Like Raja's getting closer, so we're making that decision this week to travel Raj. I mean, they're such good kids. Cole Wisniewski that, you know, you take them on the trip because you can count on them to be helpful. Their presence has not gone unseen. I appreciate it. A little bit over the emotional side of a guy being, I mean, we're into this thing now. But they've been really good.
Did the preseason go as you expected? Or was there anything that caught you by surprise, especially it's your first head coaching job? So how did it go?
I think this has all gone pretty good. You know, being the guy that's got you know what? I'm really learning how to set up 3 suits or 4 suits a week, depending whether we're on the road. I don't know if my decision to be a suit guy is very good right now. I mean, I'm losing 20 minutes a day. That would be one thing I have frustration on. The second thing is I just thought we'd be a little bit further ahead with our consistency. I think Saturday, you know, defensively, there's a lot of improvement. It's a really fast start. Somewhere in there, I'm responsible for coming off the gas and sending a message that everything's okay. And we have to play the full 60 minutes with our hair on fire. So I thought that would be a little further ahead. But our effort level and our want to run around fast has been outstanding. And I really liked our fall camp schedule. And based on the numbers of everything, you know, our legs are in really good place right now.
How is that side of it working for you as a head coach? You know, some defensive struggles, everybody would consider Grant kind of a young coordinator. You want to let him coach, but at the same time, you are the head football coach. How's that balance working?
Yeah, I'm not a defensive guy per se, but I'll tell you, like, I understand run fits. Okay, sometimes they got to tell me the run fit before the play, but I understand the fits and how they go down. I don't think schematically we have huge issues. I think sometimes it's just been a combination of the fundamentals and technique. Schematically, our play versus theirs, and then obviously, which we've talked about enough, do we have the right people in the right spots? And so I just continue to raise questions and, you know, suggestions, and hey, have you thought about it from this angle? The one thing I'm trying to do a good job of this week specifically is this is who Illinois State is. We need to shut this down and then make them react to us. Okay, and if we give up something that they haven't done very much of or that kind of thing, let's get that fixed later and let's move on.
What's Sam O'Jury mean to you?
Oh gosh, you know everything, and I look past the player part now. There was a moment when I invited him out to the Iowa camp, and I watched him, and I got him set up with a couple of people that I really respect. You know, Kelton Copeland, Kelvin Bell. You know, we call him Jank, but you know, running backs coach down at the Saints. I got him with those guys for a reason, so that they could talk to him about the professionalism it takes to grow in this business and what it really takes. And then I spent about an hour with him on the board, and I just said, Sam, you're not going home tonight. You're going to stay at the house. Called my wife, made sure we had the right beverages, and we hung out for about 8 hours. And at that time, he got an interview with Grand Valley State, didn't get it, was heartbroken, but he's grown so much. And I'm watching him from afar and seeing him recruit. He's at a pretty elite level. His running backs play hard. But from a player standpoint, I always just think about the recruiting process. And I think Sam was committed to UND for school, and he was committed to NDSU for football because he thought he wanted to be a pilot initially. And I had to break the news to him, like, we don't have aviation. Yeah, Coach, I'm good. And just when he was young, he was a little bit all over the place, but he was a true thoroughbred. He's a true ace in the hole, guy that could carry it and do a lot of good things with it.